What's good, best friend? What's good, best friend? It is Monday evening, February the 20. Oh, wait, February the 16th. It's Monday evening, February the 16th. It is 7:29, so I am 1 minute away from starting the next episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with DJ. Who the heck is DJ? That's me. I'm DJ. I'm Darrell James. And I am so honored to have another day, another Monday with my best friends. To have another day and another Monday with my best friends. So I want to thank each and every one of you all that are coming in. I want to thank each and every one of you all that are coming in. Those of you that are on different platforms, thank you, thank you. It is Monday. 7:29, so I'm less than 1 minute away from doing the official welcome. But if you're here, thank you, thank you, thank you. Those of you that are here, thank you. Guys, once again. Oh, those of you on TikTok, I'm kind of new to this. My first time doing it. I just realized that I didn't have comments enabled on TikTok. Now comments are enabled. So just shoot my hi real quick, just to make sure that it's there. If you're on TikTok, shoot my hi real quick, just so I know that it is working. Just say hi to me real quick, if you would, in the comments, just so I know that it is working. All right, so guys, it is 7:30 p.m. Welcome to another episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with DJ. Welcome to another episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with DJ. Who the heck is DJ? That's me, guys. DJ. I am DJ Darrell James. I am Darrell James. So thank you all for joining me. For another Monday night episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth. It's Monday, guys. It's Monday. So if you have followed at all, you know that Mondays is the day that I look at and we discuss families. So Life, Love, and Loud Truth. Life is parenting and family life. Parenting and family life. Love is relationships. And Loud Truth is just miscellaneous. I just jump on and just talk about life. Something that's happening. Okay. So guys, tonight is Monday. So tonight is family and parenting life. Okay. And I just want to say that tonight, guys, we're going to be discussing something that's very, very this kind of very hard. Okay, parenting and family life tonight, Monday. Welcome to another episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with DJ. Who the heck is DJ? DJ is me, Darrell James. So welcome, guys. Welcome. It's 7:32. Let's go ahead and get it popping. Okay. Tonight, guys, I want to discuss. I'm so excited. So one of the things, just a little transparency real quick. Guys, if you're following and watch the show at all, you know that I say, I'm a life guidance coach. Focusing on parenting, family life, and relationships. Okay, family, parenting life, relationships, marriages. That's my focus. However, and like I say, I'm not here. It's not therapy. I'm not a counselor or anything like that. So that's what it's not. I'm here to simply share a different perspective with you of what might work in your situation, in hopes of helping you out. Okay. So with that said, I do have a moment of transparency. Real quick, that I want to do. Okay, and it's very simple. Okay. My life, I try and live by a certain standard of living, okay, and that is I try and always make sure that my integrity is there. Shania, thank you for joining in on Facebook. Thank you for joining in. I try and live a life of integrity, simply meaning that you're going to get the same Darrell regardless of where I'm at. I try and treat people the way I want to be treated. Okay, guys, if you would do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind sharing this to whatever platform you're watching it on, whatever the 4 platforms you're watching on. Please do me a favor and share it for me. Please also invite your friends, family members to watch. Okay, I'm going to be on at least for an hour with you all, at least for an hour, 7:30 to 8:30, at least for an hour. Okay, might go over, depends. Okay, but I try and be transparent. I try and this is a moment of transparency. I'm sorry, a moment of transparency. I try and make sure that I'm living a life of integrity. Simply meaning, I try and be as honest as possible in everything I do. Okay. Second, guys, I try and treat everybody the way that I would want to be treated, if in the same scenario. Okay. Now, with that said, guys, it gets to be hard sometimes. Honestly, it really does get to be hard sometimes. Okay, I have struggles, but like I said, I do pray and ask God to help me, come back to it and treat others the way I want to be treated. Okay, with that said, tonight's episode, I'm going to relate that here in just a second. Okay, but I want to give you one more. I try and look at everything from all perspective. Okay, from all perspective. Okay, so with that said, like I said, I'm going to give you some details and relate it to what we're talking about tonight. Okay, now, guys, I do admit to some of the faults and stuff I have. One is the fact, Cody, thank you. Those of you on TikTok, thank you all for coming in. Please make sure you share it, and follow me. Whatever platform you're watching this, please make sure you follow. So once again, guys, with that said, tonight's episode, we're going to be looking at the hard truths about parenting. Okay, now, here's how I tie that in. I try and treat everybody the way I want to be treated. I've told y'all, guys, if you follow me for any point, I've said that two of the hardest things in life, and I will argue this with anybody. If anybody want to argue it with me, feel free to have them to contact me. I will argue this with anybody. Two of the hardest things in life is parenting, successful parenting, and marriage. Okay, here's why. There are two things that are meant to be forever. Okay, however, what we're doing is we're adding to one. We're adding to us. And we're going against the natural flow of things. Simply meaning, whenever we add, we're taught that whenever we add, we get more. Okay, but with parenting, committed relationships and marriages, we're going against that because we're trying to make one. We're trying to connect with our families, our children. We're trying to connect with our significant others, and come together as one. Okay, so with that said. Neither one of those things comes with an instruction manual. I think I shared with you all in an earlier episode. I had the pleasure, the honor of doing a wedding for a family from Ghana, and I met the bride's family flew in from Ghana, from New Jersey, all over, and I was talking to the grandfather. I was talking to her grandfather. An elder, and I was so honored to meet him, and I told him I will forever the rest of my life remember our conversation. Okay, and what happened, guys, was he was sharing with me, he said, I don't understand how you all do things here in America. And I said, what do you mean? He said, because you look at marriage, you take marriage and families, and he said there's no prerequisites. There's nothing that have to be done first. He said, back in my country, he said, guys, I'm really proud of myself because normally when I talk and I repeat stuff that I've heard from people from other countries, for some reason my head just go to where I am trying to imitate their voice, and I'm not doing that tonight. I just realized that, so I'm really proud of myself. Pat on the back. Okay, TikTok, guys, thank you all for coming in. Everybody on TikTok, thank you for coming in. Facebook, thank you for coming in. Instagram, thank you for coming in. Another episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with DJ, with me, okay? So here it is, guys, here it is. He was telling me back in my country, he said, you want to get married? He said, you oftentimes, with most families get married, the couple that's getting married have to spend a year with the elders in the community. A year with the elders in the community that are married. And he said, the purpose of that is so that they can make sure they're ready for marriage and they're wanting to get involved in it. And I was like, wow, they're so impressive. Parenting. you before you decide to become a parent, he said, normally you spend time with the ones in the community that are parents, to make sure it's something you want to get into. Guys, here in America, we get married, we can go to the courthouse, get the license, boom, get married the same day in the courthouse. Parenting. Parenting. We know the process. We know the process. That's all over the world. A quick boom, boom, bam, and we have a child. We have a child. So I often say that one of my things that I'm very passionate about is speaking up and being an advocate and a voice for children because they don't have a voice, and also for the ones that can't necessarily speak for themselves. And so that's the whole purpose of this platform, is to speak up and give you a different perspective of what might work. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to be looking at hard truths about parenting. And guys, trust me when I say some of the stuff tonight is going to be very rigid, very rigid. Okay, I want your feedback. So those of you that are on, please make sure you can definitely comment. I would love to have your feedback. But however, with that said, guys, here's the deal. Don't hesitate to comment on the platform you're on. If you don't comment during the live, comment on the platform, or you can hit my website, darrelljames.org, 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 darrelljames.org. Okay, here's the deal, guys. With parenting, I understand that parenting, a lot of times we get into something and it's a mistake. All right, we had couple of minutes, half an hour of pleasure, boom, and 9 months later there's a kid there. So is bam bam boop, there's a kid. Okay, we have to keep in mind, guys, that the kid, it was not reversed. The kid did not hey, can I come? Okay, it's more of a reaction. Something happened and boom, the child is there. Okay, there's no restriction, and trust me, guys, when I say this, I understand that. That parenting oftentimes is not planned. So, but tonight, guys, I do want to look at some real facts. Okay, now, guys, you can take notes. If you have a young person that's thinking about having children, or a young person that's in the process of having a child. Okay, I have a couple of friends that are watching who have teenagers that are pregnant. Okay, so with that said, we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. Hard truths about parenting. Now, guys, please, I do have the phone on. So feel free to call and get involved. I will actually, my phone is right here on my laptop, so I will actually have you to where you are speaking on speakerphone, and you'll be a part of the show. The number is 614-205-0391, 614-205-0391. Okay, with that said, guys, here we go. Hard truths about parenting. Number one. Okay, parenting, oftentimes, guys, a lot of people have, I've worked in the field of working with children's families, people since 1995. So I've been in the field for a long time. I've been a coach for the last 25 years of those years. Okay, now here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. Parenting, oftentimes, there are people that get into it because they feel it's something that is supposed to happen. Okay, something that's supposed to happen. Okay, and so they feel that it's something that has to happen. And kids are so beautiful. Boom, they're pretty. I tell people, guess what? Here's the thing. They grow up. Okay, and I have something that is in my upcoming parenting book. I talk about the theory of what I call the puppy syndrome. And here it is, guys. Here it is, simple. Okay, I've met with young women before, and girls, literally girls. They had an 11-year-old that had twins. I worked with an 11-year-old girl that had twins. Okay, here it is. Darrell, I want a child. Okay, you're 11 years old. Okay, so how do you say you want a child? Here it is. Okay, I'm tired of how my life has been treated. I want something that I can have and I can own, and I can treat the way I wish my parents would have treated me. My family would have treated me. I can treat them that way. Okay. Now, guys, I call that the puppy syndrome because here it is. Catch this. Here it is. Catch this. All right. What happens is we have the child or the children, in her case, twins. We have the child or the children. We don't realize those children grow up. Okay. And when they grow up, they become, I like to say, become adults, just in diapers. Okay. They grow up. Okay. So here it is. Here it is. Guys, hard truth number one. Hard truth number one. Okay, and I do have. I'm going to share with you tonight four truths, four hard truths of parenting. In no particular order. No particular order. But let me tell you guys real quick the show. I forgot to tell y'all. So I prior to the show, I have my shows planned for the next 30 days, for the next month. However, today was kind of special because Valentine's Day over the weekend, which, somebody created life on the weekend. Can almost guarantee you that. Somewhere in the U.S., somebody created life somewhere in the U.S., somebody created life on Valentine's Day. It was just Saturday. Went out, had a nice dinner, maybe, a little bit to drink and stuff, and they wound up at some place and, they created life. Okay, here it is, guys. Here it is. There's a reality part that comes with parenting. There's a reality part that comes with parenting. So today I was thinking, I was like, what I want to do the show on the right show. Okay. And I actually, I said a quick prayer, Lord, guide me on what to discuss tonight. Okay. And I'm going to share with you all what happened, how I know this show was meant to happen. So guys, please invite as many people as you can to watch the show because this show is meant for somebody, or you can share it with them. Okay, the show will also be recorded and added to my YouTube page, which is on my pages. Okay, here it is. One of the doctors, one of my doctor friends, he was telling me today, he said, Darrell, he said, I need a favor. And I said, what? He said, I need to share some of your book. He's doing a forward for my upcoming parenting book that'll be out this summer. Okay, he's doing a forward to it, and he said, I need a favor. I said, what? He said, I was reading one of your chapters on hard truth. And he said, is it possible I could share it with a friend of mine? And I said, yeah, what's going on? He said, Darrell, I have a friend who's a doctor, went to med school together and everything, has no clue of parenting. He said, I am his daughter's godfather. And he said, I really love it. He said, my wife and I, we were over last week. And he said, she came in and she was like, Daddy, I need to talk. And said he threw her a credit card. She left. And he said, I was so disgusted and so angry because I was like, wait a minute. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for a credit card. She didn't ask for the keys to the car. She asked, can we talk? And you threw her a credit card. His friend responded, I already know what she wanted. And he said, Darrell, I got so angry. My wife, she was rubbing my thigh, my leg, telling me to calm down because she know how angry I was getting. And he said, Darrell, it really angers me at people that don't understand the importance of parenting, the importance of raising your child, the importance of parenting. And he said, I want to share with them part. I said, yeah, hey, you're sponsoring me. I'm not going to tell you no. You're doing the forward to my book. I'm not going to tell you no. Okay. I said, but tonight, I said, you just gave to me what I'm going to do the show on tonight. Hard facts of parenting. That's what I'm going to do. He said, all right, great. I'll have them to tune in and watch it, to hear it from you personally. And I said, yeah. And at any point, I would be glad to come over. I would be glad to go out to dinner with them and discuss it face to face. Okay. Which is what we planned. Okay. But here it is, guys. Here it is. After he told me, I received 2 calls today of people that had similar, hey, Darrell, parenting, fatherhood, motherhood, parenting. So guys, this show tonight is very special to me. This show is very special to me because I know that somebody is going to get something from the show that's going to help them in their parenting and family life. So guys, please make sure you can definitely comment, get involved, and get involved, and then comment. Yeah, you can definitely comment and interact. Okay, so here we go. All right, so hard truth about parenting number 1. Okay, life, guys, is a gift. Life is a gift. Okay, I told y'all that I was raised in a very structured, very strong Christian home. My dad was a bishop, my mother an evangelist. Okay, that's all we knew. That's all we knew. Ten children. Okay, well, 11. One passed really young. Okay, but 10 children. Okay, my oldest brother passed away during COVID, but nine of us remaining. God's very strong Christian upbringing home, and here it is. So I don't call myself a Bible scholar. This show is not a biblical Christian show, but I do want to share this with you. I do want to share this with you. Okay, in my upbringing, I became familiar with the Bible and everything. Okay, and so here it is, guys. In the beginning, if we believe Christian biblical truths and everything, if we believe that, here's the deal, guys. God created man. God created man. However, after the fall of the command that God gave to man and woman, Adam and Eve at the beginning, okay, they had to leave the Garden of Eden, and he simply told them, go out and reproduce. Okay, start the world. Okay, now catch this, guys. Catch this. God created man, but He felt the need for us to reproduce and continue the process. Okay, so He enabled us to do what He had only done, what only He had done, and that is create life. That is create life. Okay. But here's another part. Okay, I've told y'all how I feel toward women. Okay, how I feel toward women. I say, women are so powerful and oftentimes don't realize it. Okay, when I do my women empowerment coaching, women are so powerful and don't realize it. Okay. There was so much given to man and woman, but guess what? Here it is. Women, you were given the ability to carry a drop. To carry a drop for 9 months inside of you, and that drop becomes a human child. That drop becomes a human, a person. Okay? You were given the ability to create life, literally, from a drop from a man. From a drop from a man. Okay, now, of course, we come back, as I told you, I like to look at things from all sides. Man, you were given the ability to, from a drop from you, give to a woman to create life. Okay, guys, that's special. The thought of that in itself is powerful. Just the thought of that in itself is powerful. So here's hard truth about parenting number one. Okay, hard truth about parenting number one. You had them, nobody else. You had them. Okay. Simply meaning the woman received something from the man to have the child, to create the life. You had them. It wasn't big mama, it wasn't grandmama, it wasn't grandpa, it wasn't mama, papa, it wasn't auntie, it wasn't brother, sister, aunt, uncle. You had them. You had them. Okay? Hard truths about parenting, number one. You had the children. Ultimately, guys, it is your responsibility. It is your responsibility. Okay? Nobody else's responsibility but you. So what do I say to young people when I talk to young people? Guys, guess what? Can you raise a child with no support, with zero support? If there was no big mama, if there was no grandmama, if there was no papa, no grandfather, no aunts, uncles, aunties, brothers, sisters, if there was nobody else and it was just you, and the person that you had the child with or by, if it's just you, can you raise that child on your own? Hard fact about parenting, number one. Okay, you had the child, so ultimately, guys, you are responsible for what you created. Now, am I saying, well, so Darrell, are you telling me that I should not ever ask my family and friends for help? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying ultimately you are responsible. Here's the rest of that part that's really hard. You are responsible legally until they reach 18 years old. Legally until they reach 18 years old. Okay? Guys, I told you the work I do. I work with children. I work with children and families. Okay? I can't tell you how often I've had parents sit and tell me, well, Darrell, nobody told me it was going to be this hard. If I would have known, I wouldn't have had them. Okay? Now, guys, here's the flip side. Here's the flip side. I remember one time hearing from my mom and my aunts as they were talking. They said, how you treat your parents will come back to you 10 times more from your children. Okay, guys, I was doing a group one time with some girls, with some young women, some young girls, and I asked them that. I said, guys, let me tell you something I heard when I was growing up. I said, if that's the case, tell me, how are your children going to come up? How are your children going to be raised? And guys, it was funny, and I had to laugh. You know, I'm human. Even in my job now, my sense of humor sometimes gets the best of me. I will laugh at situations that maybe I shouldn't. Okay, but guys, this young girl said, she said, Darrell, if I have a child and my child gives me 10 times what I gave my mom, I don't want to ever have children. I don't ever have children. I said, why? She said, because I know I've taken my mom through hell and back. I know I've taken my mom through hell and back. And if you're telling me my child would be 10 times worse than that, I don't want to ever have children because I couldn't imagine that. Okay. So guys, hard truth about parenting number one. Okay. You had them, nobody else. Ultimately, you are responsible for what you created. You are responsible for the gift that you created. You are responsible for the life that you created. Ultimately, you are responsible for them because you had them. Nobody else had them. Big mama, papa, grump. You had the child. So ultimately, you're responsible. Now, guys, that's going to flip me right into hardship about parenting number two. Parenting is a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Oh, let me back up. Parenting is a 25 hours a day, 8 days a week situation, role, okay, job. Here it is. Why I say that? Because parenting doesn't stop. Parenting doesn't stop. Parenting doesn't stop when I'm tired. Parenting doesn't stop when I'm sleepy. Parenting doesn't stop when I need some adult time. Parenting don't stop when I want to hang out with my friends and just kind of, you know, forget that I even have kids. Parenting don't stop when I want to go on a date. Guys, parenting is a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week thing. Or as I said, as I jokingly said, 25 hours a day, 8 days a week role. Okay, parenting doesn't stop. Parenting doesn't stop. Okay, period. I remember when I first moved to Ohio. When I first moved to Ohio from Alabama. When I first moved to Ohio from Alabama, people asked me, was it a cultural shock? Was it a cultural shock? Did it take any kind of adjustment, mental adjustment? And a lot of people assume it was going to be racial. It was going to be racial. And I say, you know, we have to understand that we see the world as we are, not how it is. Okay, we see the world how we are, not how the world is. What I mean by that, guys, is I've never been a racial person to look at race. So therefore, when I moved to Ohio from Alabama, race was never an issue. Race was never an issue. Okay, guys, there was a cultural shock though. Okay, there was a cultural shock. Both of my parents were still alive when I moved to Ohio. When I moved to Mansfield, Ohio. Okay, and I remember telling my dad, I say the biggest shock. Someone say that parenting, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop just because you don't have money. It doesn't stop because you're broke. Okay, exactly. Parenting, it never stops. Okay, and actually, you jumped a little bit ahead of me because I actually have that one into the next one. But you're totally right. You're totally right, and I totally agree with that. Okay, so here it is. What happened was I moved and I told my dad. He said, "What's the biggest thing you notice?" And I told him, I said, "Dad, one of the biggest things I'm noticing is the fact that up here there's so many nursing homes. There's so many places like assisted living homes where the elderly move to get help around the clock. And there's so many of them to where they rely on their children who doesn't visit, but they live there because they couldn't live on their own." Guys, in Alabama, I had never seen that. Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City, Alabama, Fort Mitchell, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia. I had never seen that. I moved up north, and they're all over the place. Mansfield, Ohio, all over the place. Okay, there's a part of Mansfield, Ohio, where there was 4 big ones side by side. all the way down the road. I'm like, wow. And I told my dad, I said, that's shocking, because growing up in Alabama, Georgia, what I saw was just when the parents get old, then the cycle of life is reversed, it's flipped. So now that the parents are old, the children take care of the parents. Okay, guys, 2026. God, those of you that are coming in on TikTok, I really appreciate you coming in. Please share it. Please follow. Please like. Guys, please, thank you for coming in and sharing, spending this time with me. Okay, here it was in the South. As I say, the circle of life flipped. Now that my parents are old, I'm gonna take care of them. They're gonna live with me. I'm gonna take care of them. Versus the North, parents are old. I have my life. You go into assisted living. 2026, guys, all over assisted living places and everything. Okay. And it just really shocked me. It just really shocked me. Okay, but guys, here it is. Parenting, guys, is 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay, we raise our children, and ideally, the way we would want them to grow up, the way that we would want them to head. Okay, guys, parenting don't stop just because I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I'm hungry. I want to eat something. They want to eat something different. Okay, as someone said, I'm broke. I don't have the money. Okay, parenting doesn't stop. Parenting doesn't stop. Okay. Hard truth about parenting number 2. Hard truth about parenting number 2. Okay. Parenting is continuous regardless of how we feel. Darrell, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What I mean by that, guys, is with parenting, our priorities now has shifted. Our priorities now have shifted. Pre-parent. I was able to focus on me, what I want to eat, how I want to dress, what I want to listen to, what I want to watch on television, what I want to listen to in my car, my music. I was able to do all of that because it was just me, my significant other, me and my significant other. Children come along, guys, our priorities should shift. Our priorities should shift because guess what? As a parent, I am my child's first line of influence. I am my child's first line of influence. Children are sponges. Children are sponges. Okay, children are sponges. Okay, this just so happened to be sent by me, guys. I told you I work with children and families. I have a lot of little fidgets and little things around that actually work. Okay, one of the things is I tell children oftentimes having stuff to squeeze is a stress reliever. This just so happened to be sitting right here beside me as I'm talking. And so this is the perfect example. Okay, this is not a sponge. It's actually a squishy piece of cheese, but it works. Okay, it works. You notice, guys, the shape, it has its own shape. Okay, but it's going to take on whatever shape I squeeze it into. Parenting. I am my child's first line of influence. They're going to listen to what I listen to. They're going to watch the way I talk. They're going to watch the way I walk. They're going to watch the way I move, because guess what? That's going to be the same way they start to talk. They start to walk. They start to listen to the things they listen to. They start to talk. Okay, so guys, we have to understand that regardless of how we feel, when we become a parent, our priorities should shift. Because now we are living for somebody else. I'm tired. I want to sleep. But guess what? My child is over there saying, I want you to read to me. My priorities shift. So, Dorilla, you're saying that parenting is all about sacrificing? Absolutely. Absolutely. That is exactly what I'm saying. Parenting is a sacrifice, guys. Parenting is a sacrifice. Because now we have to prioritize. Okay, in my book, I actually say that I wish I can change the definition of parenting. Okay, a lot of people see, there's a belief out there that a lot of people believe that I am a parent because it was my sperm that connected to their egg that created a life. That makes me a parent. And I say in my book, I wish that I can change the definition of a parent, because guess what? That does not make you a parent. Hard facts. It makes you a donor. It simply says that you gave something to make something. Okay? Where does parenting come in at, Darrell? Where does parenting come in at? Parenting is providing. Parenting is doing what's in the best interest of that child. Let me repeat that, guys. Parenting is providing. Parenting is supporting. Parenting is doing what's in the best interest of that child. What do I mean? Well, it's February the 14th, Valentine's Day, and I'm not with my child's mother. I met a nice new young lady at just out in the community, and I want to go out with them. But nobody is available to keep my 12-year-old child. And besides, my 12-year-old child just said, Darrell, I want to spend Valentine's Day with you, my father, my dad. Guys, the young lady I just met told me, Darrell, if we don't spend Valentine's Day together today, then I'm not sure if there's a future for us. Guess what, guys? Guess what? Parenting, now our priorities have shifted. Our priorities have shifted. I have to do what's in the best interest of my child. So guess what? If the new person is not able to comprehend that or compromise or whatever, okay? I don't necessarily want to invite her over yet to introduce to my child. So guess what, guys? My priorities have shifted, so now I have to prioritize my child. Because what I know is now I have to do what's in the best interest of my child. Hard truth about parenting. Hard truths about parenting, guys. The first one is parenting is 24/7 or 25/8. 25/8 because it never stops. It doesn't stop because I want to go on a date because it's Valentine's Day. It doesn't stop because I don't have the money to get whatever my child is asking. I have a mouth to communicate. Well, sweetie, I can't do it now. Can we wait until I get paid on Friday? I have a mouth to communicate. Okay, so here it is, guys. Parenting. Hard truths about parenting. Number one is parenting is 24/7. Number two, we have to change our mindset because we have to understand that parenting is a sacrifice. Parenting is a sacrifice. Shania, you and Ron are hot. You and Ron are hot. I love the comments. Okay. We have to. As I gave you the example, one of my sponsors, one of my doctor friends, was telling me, Darrell, please do the show on hard truth from the book. I said I would do that chapter. I would give parts of that chapter tonight. I promise you. Okay. Because he was sharing the example of his goddaughter. His goddaughter, he's over there, over his friend's house. And two doctors as parents. She comes home from school, Dad, can we talk? And he gives her a credit card. Now, guys, I have to be transparent again. I have to be transparent again. A lot of the families I had worked with was from lower income families, lower social classes than a lot. Okay. So I was thinking at some point that oftentimes our economic status, our social economic status, can portray how good or how bad of a parent we are. Okay. And then I thought back to years ago when I did drug and alcohol counseling. I worked with a 15-year-old boy who was addicted to drugs, whose dad was a doctor, mom was a dentist. He had an allowance of $500 every 2 weeks, $250 a week. I would often ask Dad and Mom, I say, what did y'all expect he was going to do at 15 with that much money? If y'all are giving him everything that he has, what are y'all going to do? What do y'all expect? Oh, Jennifer, thank you. Oh, my sister is Jennifer, thank you. I was wondering if you can comment, because I realized on TikTok that earlier today that I didn't have it where you can comment back. So thank you for doing that comment out there. Okay. So guys, here it is. When he told me that, he said, Darrell, please, because I'm gonna have my doctor friends to watch tonight, because they need to understand the hard facts of parenting. Guys, you have to be there for your child. You have to be there for your child. Okay. You raise them in the way you should want them to go. Okay. So this is what I shared with him. Okay, when I meet your friends, I simply want to tell them, how do you want them to grow up? How do you want them to grow up? If you want them to grow up to where there's no mental connection to anything, okay, then what happens is they're going to learn to be materialistic with everything. They're not going to show emotions. They're not going to show needs and everything like that, because they're going to think that material stuff fixes everything. Because that's the way you're raising your children. Your daughter came home, Daddy, I need to talk, and you gave her a credit card. She left. Okay, it fixes this immediately fix. Okay, but without speaking. Okay, so guys, number two is we have to understand that parenting is sickness, health. I put parenting is in sickness, health, and wealth. Whether I have or I don't have. Whether I have or I don't have. My 9-year-old grandson and I, we had a moment last weekend. He came over and he saw some slides. And he said, Papa, whose slides? I say, buddy, those were your slides when you were younger. Those were your slides when you were younger. He said, why did I never took them home? I said, you never took them home because when we had bought you those slides, you didn't want them because they didn't have a name brand on the side. They didn't have a name brand on the side. And he said, but they're nice. I said, yeah, now that you're 9, you see that they're nice, but then that's the way you were being brought up. Everything has to have a name brand attached to it. Okay, so guys, once again, we have to understand that how we bring our child up is the way they grow. The way they grow. Okay, I showed you all the sponge again. Well, this is a block of cheese, a squeezy cheese. It's not a sponge, but it's going to take on the shape in which I form it. Okay, so guys, we have to understand that our children are going to absorb whatever we're given to them. Whatever we're given to them. Okay. Now, with that, okay, I often say with marriage, when I coach couples, we have to understand that we have to have discernment of who we talk to. I do not agree with people saying don't talk to people about your marriage. Okay, you have to. If not, you explode and you listen to anything that anybody tells you, which is very sour. Okay, we have to have discernment. So what do I mean by that? If I am the first line of influence for my child, and I am not being there and giving them the tools they need, then guess what? Guess who takes my role as being the first line of influence? Somebody else. That somebody else doesn't necessarily have to be somebody they can physically touch. It can be the music they listen to. It could be the stuff they watch on the screen. Okay? It could be something they're experiencing. I work with a lot of kids to say, hey, I've been bullied. I've been bullied. Okay, so bullying is an experience, guys. Okay, because of it, oftentimes oftentimes the ones that are bullied feels I have to get somebody else. So bullying becomes a cycle. Bullying becomes a cycle. Bullying becomes a cycle. And before we know it, guys, it's out of control. Little people becomes big people. Little bullies become big bullies. Okay. So now we understand why some of our supervisors are bullies at work. Guess what? I can almost guarantee you that when they were younger, they were probably bullied as a child. And they were too afraid to bully back even when they was growing up. But guess what? Now I'm in a position of power. I can run it in the form of workplace bullying. Ooh, all right. That's a whole nother show. Let me get off of that. That's a whole nother show. Okay, so here it is, guys. Here it is. We have to understand. Shania, I totally agree. The S word you put there, though, if I were to say it, I'll get flagged. So, and that's unfortunate. I'm trying to find a way around that, but I'll get flagged if I were to say it. Okay, but here it is, guys. Here it is. So, hard truth about parenting. Number one is you had them. You had the child. You created the life. They're yours. Ultimately, they're yours. Not big mamas, not papa, not aunt, uncles. You had them. Ultimately, you're responsible. Number two, parenting is 24/7. Sickness, health, and wealth. Parenting is 24/7. Okay. Hard truth, guys. Number three. Hard truth number 3. I just gave you a thing where I said little people become big people. It's a growing process. It's a growing process. There's a thing called power struggle, which simply means a fight for control. A fight for control. I oftentimes ask, I say, at what age do power struggles start? At what age do power struggles start? I have a friend that didn't have any children. And so one day we were talking. I said, "What age do power struggles start?" And she said, "Darrell, I think probably maybe 3 or 4 years old." And she said, "What are your thoughts?" I said, "I think power struggles start probably earlier than that." He said, "Fast forward, guys. She have her first child. She have her first child, and about 9 months into having her first child, she said, 'Darrell, bro, I have not slept in 9 months.'" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said she cries. I wake up, I get her, I rock her, feed her, make sure that her bottom's dry, she's clean. I lay her back down. Whew. I'm getting 10 more minutes of sleep before I have to get up and get ready for work. I lay down. 3 minutes into laying down, she cries again. Darrell, she is beating me at this power struggle. I said, "But hold on, she's not even a year yet." Darrell, it started from birth. Because the thing is, I can swear when I get her and put her beside me in the bed, I can swear she looks at me and she's laughing. I said, "Wow, that's deep. That's deep." Guys, fast forward, child number 2. Darrell, my children are now double teaming me. I haven't slept in 2 years. Vacation time came up the end of last year. What are you doing for vacation? My mom and my husband, they realize my need for rest, for sleep. They have agreed to keep the children. I'm going to the hotel for a whole week, and I'm just going to sleep the whole week. Okay. So, guys, we have to understand that parenting don't stop just because we need a break. Okay. Guys, so we have to understand that our children need stuff, and if we don't provide, then ultimately we feel the lack of. We feel the lack of. Guys, I'm going to give you the last one. Okay, and I want you to catch this one. Because I started off telling you what I call the puppy syndrome. Puppies start out, and I was looking for something, okay? Puppies start out small. Okay. And guys, they grow. And eventually that puppy becomes a full-grown dog, and now they're using the bathroom in my shoe. They go outside and they rub their bottom on the grass, but yet they come in, they jump on my couch, and now my couch smells like dog bottom. Okay, guys, they grow up. Same thing with children. I started off and I said the children, guys, I tell parents that I coach, I tell young parents that I coach, children are small people. But I know they can't walk, but they're small people. Okay, and you're learning this as they progress. Okay, here it is, guys. Here it is. Those of you that are joining me, guys, thank you all for joining me. Please make sure you follow. Please make sure you like. And most of all, guys, please make sure you check out the website. I have 2 to 3 books that will be out before the end of summer. That one is the hardships of parenting. Okay, one is the hardships of parenting. The website, DarrellJames.org. 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 Okay, guys, here it is. The children grow up. If those other hardships aren't there and taken care of, guys, they grow up and they become somewhat reliant on themselves. Okay, let's take, for instance, when I was saying we have to remember that we're the first line of influence. If we don't do good with that, guess what? Our children learn to rebel. Our children learn to do what they want to do based upon the influence they saw. So, okay, how powerful is this? I remember one time I was in Walmart with my granddaughter at the age of maybe five or 6. And we're going down the aisle with the water on one side and the alcoholic beverages on the other side. And she stops right in front of the wine and beer. And she said, Papa, why don't you have any of this in your refrigerator? Why don't you have any of this in your fridge at home? And I say, Princess, that's because that's an adult beverage. She said, aren't you an adult? I said, yeah. Guys, catch this. She said, well, my mom and dad have it at home, and you're older than them. Absolutely right. Okay, but I choose not to partake in alcohol. Now, guys, I said that to say this, okay? Our children watch and see stuff that oftentimes we don't think they watch and see. They hear stuff that we do that we don't think they hear, okay? How do I know that? I was coaching a mom that was saying that her son called appear in daycare a name, okay, an a-hole. And she said when the teacher told her, she had to laugh because she recognized that whenever she's at home and she gets mad at her husband, the first thing she says is, you a-hole. Here it was at the age of 3, maybe 4. Son goes to daycare, to daycare. And his peer makes him mad. And guess what he does? He looks at his peer and he goes, you stop, you a-hole. She said, well, when the teacher told me that, I had to laugh because I know exactly where he got it. Guys, our kids hear. They hear stuff that we don't think they hear. They listen to stuff that we don't think they listen to. Guys, I'm a DJ. Okay, and I specialize in family-friendly music. When I say family-friendly music, I oftentimes do music that takes the explicit lyrics out. Okay, I've always had satellite radios in all of my vehicles, Sirius XM. Okay, Sirius XM. And when Disney had a radio station, I always played Disney radio, Disney music, Disney radio. I recall one time one of my grandchildren saying, Papa, can you please change the channel? And I said, why? And they say, because this music is for little kids. I said, well, you are 6, you're 7. But Papa, you're the only one that makes us listen to music like this. Okay. So guys, they listen to stuff that we say, stuff that we play, stuff that we watch. I talked to a parent one time. I had a parent in the parent group I was doing. And she said, Darrell, I just don't understand my son. He runs around the house, he goes in the kitchen, and he goes in the knife drawer, he grabs knife, and he runs around the house. Can I be your friend? I want to be. And she said, Darrell, so many times he's come really close to stabbing me with a knife. Saying, can I be your friend? And I say, I can tell you your favorite movie. She said, what? I said, you like to watch the Chucky movies. Chucky, Bride of Chucky. How do you know? I said, he is emulating Chucky. Hello, I'm Chucky. Can I be your friend? She said, oh my goodness. But guys, after oh my goodness, this was the part that got me. So what? Am I not supposed to watch what I want to watch just because he's around? Stop, sweetie. Stop. No, that's not what that means. What that means is that you have to watch what you're watching while he's watching it too. Well, we only got the one TV, so get him a TV for his room. If the TV is that important in your household. Or better yet, wait till he go to bed to watch what you want to watch. You're an adult. Okay? So guys, children are a sacrifice. I'm giving you the last one. They grow up. Now, when I say they grow up, what happens when they grow up? Guys, our children grow up, and one of the things I argued with was I argued with a lot of professionals that say, professionals, therapists, counselors that say, in the case of your child and your significant other, who eats first? Who eats first? And a lot of professionals believe, and they say the significant other eats first. Now, here's the theory behind that. If I feed my children first, then eventually they're going to grow up and they're going to go about their way. Now, their significant other is going to have some kind of feeling about you never focused on me, because they feel neglected. Now, guys, of course, as I told you, I try and look at integrity. I try and lead by integrity, lead by example. And I also try to make sure, that I'm looking at what's actually happening. Okay, now what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, if my significant other isn't able to understand that I'm watching something because my child is in the room, or I'm eating something because my I'm eating something because my child is don't want it, and stuff like that, then maybe that's not who I need to be with. If she can't understand and we can't compromise on the needs of the children involved, then guys, maybe I may need to rethink my relationship. Okay, now that's been serious. That's been serious. Okay. I was asked one time, Darrell, you're so close to your grandchildren. What happens if you get with a young woman that don't like the fact that you're close with your grandchildren? What will you do? I laughed. Is that even a question? Is that even a question? Because here it is. Okay, I have a relationship with my grandchildren. I'm not going to sacrifice the relationship I have with my grandchildren for the possible relationship with an adult. It will never happen. Okay, so guys, we have to understand that when we're looking at the fact that they're growing up, we have to understand that we have to make a sacrifice to make sure we're doing what's in the best interest of our children. What's in the best interest of our children? They grow up. We want our children to grow up in the way that we taught them. Okay, just yesterday, I was talking to a young father. And guys, I want to share this with you as I wind down. The young father had told me that they wanted to go out for Valentine's Day. And they said, I feel that my daughter always wants to do stuff to intercept when I go out with a young woman. I said, what do you mean by that? I got home from work. I told my daughter I was tired. Told my daughter I was tired and I was going to rest. However, the young lady I'm dating now called and wanted to see if we can go out. After, she knew I was at work, and I had told her we would go out on Sunday versus Saturday. So I went ahead and showered and told my daughter I was going to go out with the young lady I was seeing. However, my daughter asked, can you run me to Chipotle real quick to get something to eat? And I had to tell her no, and she got angry at me. And now we're not speaking. And I said, well, I'm on the side of your daughter. I wouldn't speak to you neither. She said, why? I said, because you put a young lady you're trying to get with before me, who you created and you had, and you've been my dad for 16, 17 years now. I wouldn't be talking to you neither, because you're showing me that you want to prioritize a hopeful for your reality. Okay, let me say that again, guys. Okay, you want to sacrifice your reality for a hopeful. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you the hard truth about parenting again as we wind down. Okay, first things first. I believe in the Bible. I told you my show is not a Christian show. It's not meant to be a religious show or anything, but my reality, okay, is my beliefs, my morals, okay? I believe God saw fit to give man and woman the power that only he had. He gave them the power to take from the man a drop to give to a woman. That drop connects to the egg the woman has, and that woman carries the body, the stuff in her body to literally take that drop, guys, and create life, form a life. That alone is so powerful. And every time I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's amazing in itself. Okay, that's amazing in itself, because from here it is, this little bit of stuff. Now there's a live, breathing, warm baby created. okay, from two people. That alone is powerful. Now here's guys, catch this. This is what I want you to catch. This is what I want you to catch. Okay. The first hard fact about parenting I gave you, the first hard truth I gave you about parenting is you had the child. You had the child. Big mom, grandma, papa, daddy, mom, auntie, uncle, brother, sister, they didn't have the children. Cousin, daycare, school. Oh, school. They didn't have the children. You had the children. So ultimately, guys, you are responsible for what you created. Okay. So many of our teachers now, I feel sorry for teachers. So many of our teachers now are parents and don't even have children. Did you catch that? So many of our teachers now are parents and don't even have children. Our teachers now are expected to be parents, nurses, counselors, drug sniffing dogs, everything. Okay, referees to break up fights. Our teachers are overwhelmed. They're given a lot of stuff. Okay. Our teachers, guys, they didn't have the children. You had the child. So ultimately, you are responsible for what the life you created. They're yours. They're yours. Okay. Hard truth about parenting next. Guys, this parenting is 24/7. 24/7, as I joke, 25/8. Okay. Even those hours that we don't even see on our watch, our whatever, however, our timepiece. They're still, parenting don't stop. Parenting don't stop. Okay. Parenting don't stop just because I'm at work and my child's at school, because guess what? At any minute I can get a message that says, hey, your child did that. I have to react to it. I have to respond to it. Even if I can't even get to them, I have to be able to call somebody and say, hey, I need some help. Did that. Boom. Okay. Guys, next I gave you, I simply told you that parenting is in sickness, health, and wealth. Parenting is even those times when I want to be an adult. I want to spend time with somebody that I don't want to see a G-rated movie. I want to see an adult movie. Okay. I don't want to eat at McDonald's. I want to eat at Cameron Mitchell Steakhouse. Okay. I want to eat at the Pearl. I don't want to eat at Burger King. I want to eat at the Pearl. Okay. Guys, it's not about what we want. Oftentimes, it's about what our child. Because remember, I told you, we have to do what's in the best interest of our child. We have to do what's in the best interest of the life that we created. We have to do what's in the best interest of the life that we created. Okay. Then I told you guys I simply told you that they grow up. They grow up. Children grow up. Okay. These little people that we created. These little people that we created. That was goo goo gaga happy, walking, making us laugh, making us feel good, making us want to cuddle. You remember I told you the puppy syndrome, making us want to cuddle, we want to rub, and we want, ooh, they're so cute, they're so cute. Guys, they grow up. They grow up. And when they grow up, oftentimes, guys, they become their own person. So they go from a little person to now a big person to a bigger person. They want to be their own. Okay, I shared, I think the very first episode I did, I shared a great book to read, and it's called Mom, Dad, Can I Borrow $50? Now Leave Me Alone. Okay, that's the title of the book. Mom, Dad, Can I Borrow $50? Now Leave Me Alone. Okay, and the book is simply about our children will ask us for stuff when they need it, when they want it, better yet, when they want it. Okay, but yet they don't want us to be a parent to parent them. Okay, don't want to listen to nothing we have to say, but yet they want to ask for the stuff that they know they can't get if we don't give it to them. Okay, so guys, they grow up. Okay, guys, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining me tonight. Shania, you and Ron are hot. You and Ron are hot. I told y'all I can't wait to come down. I'm bringing all of my equipment with me. And we're going to do a show in yours living room. We're going to do a show in yours living room. Okay. Those of you on TikTok, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for joining me tonight for another episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with DJ. Another episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with DJ. Instagram, thank you for joining. LinkedIn, thank you for joining. X, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate the support, and I really appreciate the people that are coming back. There are a lot of people that I notice. Riley, how you doing, my baby? I'm going to call you here in just a second. I really appreciate those of you that are coming back repeatedly. I'm noticing a lot of names. I can't say all the names because I don't want to leave out anybody, but I want to thank you all for coming back repeatedly. Guys, please make sure you're checking out the website, darrelljames.org, darrelljames.org. DarrellJames.org, DarrellJames.org. On the website, like I say, I have 3 books that will be out by the end of the summer. Two guaranteed. One I'm working on with 2 of my brothers. Hoping to get that one out also around that same timeline. Please be sure to follow the website so you know what I'm doing, guys. Also, I mentioned a couple of episodes ago. Okay, I want to meet you live. If you have an event coming up, and you need a speaker, you want somebody to come in. I'm a DJ. The place I'm going to Arizona in May. The guy that called me, he say what age? I said, you tell me what age. I said, because I can get across to any age. Okay, God has given me a gift of connecting with people. Okay, now that particular show, I'm taking my controller and I'm taking my speakers because it's going to be teenagers and adults. Okay, it's going to be a party. It's going to be a party and a discussion all in one. Okay, guys, if you're looking for a speaker, you're looking for somebody to do an event that connects to the people you have, please reach out to me, website or call, or wherever you're watching this at. I would love to come in and connect with you. I've never been to Arizona. Looking forward to Arizona in May. I would love to go wherever you are. Okay, Okay. All right, guys, with that said, thank you all for joining me tonight. Another episode of Life, Love, and Loud Truth with Darrell with DJ. Okay, thank you all, guys. Wherever you're at, please make sure you're safe. I'm really excited because today, guys, I got home from work and it was still light outside. Time changes, I think, March 8th, so 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away. Time will be changing. Daylight savings time, more light outside. I'm looking forward to it, getting outside. Guys, I'm also throw a challenge out. If I come to where you're at, I love to play tennis. I have the best tennis rackets. I spend a nice little dime on them, okay? Guys, here we go. Nice weather. Let me come to where you're at. Challenge you at a game of tennis. Guys, love you. Have a good night, and thank you for joining again. Bye-bye.